Hello everyone, I am Professor Prashant Tede from the Department of Mechanical Engineering of Maratha Vidyaprasark Samas, KBT COE, Nashik. In this series of video lectures, I will teach you about the subject solid mechanics. Previously, in our University of Pune syllabus, this subject was named as strength of material, but now the pattern has been changed and the new name for the subject is solid mechanics. As usual, this subject will again consist of 6 units, and the very first unit is importance of stress and strain. The first topic of this video lecture series is basics of stress and strain. Before starting with the subject, one must have the knowledge about the objective, course outcome and program outcome of the subject. Okay, so I have shortlisted the objectives of this subject. So you can see the objective here. Next, these are the 6 course outcome of the subject. I have designed this course outcome, the 6 course outcome as per the 6 units of the subject. Okay, so the course outcome number 1 is related to unit number 1, course outcome number 2 is related to unit number 2, and likewise. Program outcomes. Overall, there are total 12 POs as per our NBA structure. But as per my view, out of 12 POs, out of 12 program outcomes, only 4 are applicable to this subject, solid mechanics. And those 4 POs are PO1, that is engineering knowledge, PO2, problem analysis, PO9, individual and teamwork. Teamwork is needed while conducting the practicals of this subject. And last, PO12, that is lifelong learning. So we will start with the subject. The very first part in unit number 1 is load. All of us already know that load is nothing but a force. Okay, load is force simply. But see the definition. The load is defined as the set of external forces acting on a mechanism or engineering structure which arise from service conditions in which the component work. If the mechanism, machine or any structure is working in some environment, then obviously lot of external forces will act onto that object, and those forces are called as load. There are different ways in which the load can be applied onto a member. Accordingly, we can classify the load into dead or static load. Dead load means what? It is a non-fluctuating force. It does not change in magnitude or direction. It is generally caused because of the gravity. Number 2 is live load, the load due to dynamic effect. Okay, for example, the load exerted by the lorry on a bridge. Number 3 is impact load or shock load. The load due to sudden blows is the example of impact load. And last, number 4 is fatigue or fluctuating or alternating load. What is fluctuating load? The load which changes in magnitude and direction with respect to time. Stress. Before starting with the stress, just understand one simple concept. And that concept is, see, if you are applying a external force onto some object, then an internal resisting force is set up inside that object. Why? Because that internal resisting force opposes the externally applied force. Okay, that is clear. If you are applying an external force, internal force is developed inside that object. Why? To resist the external force. Now see the definition of stress. When a material is subjected to an external force, an internal resisting force is set up within the component. This internal resisting force per unit area is called as stress. So simply mathematically, stress sigma is equal to force upon area. Okay, and the units, SI units of stress are Newton per meter square or Pascal. In this subject of solid mechanics, one very important point is, while solving the numerical is, the very important point is unit conversion. Okay, the unit conversion, some of the unit conversion I have noted down here. 1 Newton per meter square is equal to 1 Pascal, 1 kilopascal is equal to 10 raised to 3 Pascal, 1 megapascal is equal to 10 raised to 6 Pascal, 1 gigapascal is equal to 10 raised to 9 Pascal, and 1 Newton per mm square is equal to 1 megapascal. A very important conversion out of all these is 1 Newton per mm square is equal to 1 megapascal. Okay. Next is types of stresses. The stresses are classified into direct, indirect and combined stresses. Combined stresses are nothing but the combination of direct and indirect stress. The direct stress are further classified into shear and normal stress. Normal stress are further classified into tensile and compressive. Next, indirect stresses are classified into torsional stress and bending stress. In all the 6 units, we have to deal with all these types of stresses: shear, tensile, compressive, torsional, bending, combined stress. All these types of stresses we have to learn in unit number 1 to unit number 6. So in unit number 1 we will learn about the direct stresses. The direct stresses, as we know, are classified into 2 categories: shear and normal. Now first, normal stress. Why the name is normal stress? Because in case of normal stress category, the force, the external force which will be acting on a component will act normal to the area. Okay, in both the figure you can see the force is acting normal to that shaded area. That's why the name is normal force or normal stress. The normal stress are further classified into tensile and compressive stress. So for tensile stress, see the first figure. In tensile stress, let us consider an rectangular object, and onto that rectangular object, if you are applying an force in the externally outward direction, it means if you are pulling that object in the outward direction, then that type of force is called as a tensile force. And we know that if you are applying a force, stresses are induced in the object. So if you are applying a tensile force, tensile stress is induced in the body. Sorry. The effect of tensile force or tensile stress is to increase the length of that object. It's very obvious. If you are pulling that object in the outward direction, the length of the object is going to increase. Okay, so that is the effect of tensile force. And it acts normal to the area, and we are pulling that material in the outward direction. Now exactly opposite to tensile is compressive stress. So in compressive category, we will apply the force in the inward direction. Now see the second diagram. Now the force will act in the inward direction, and because of the compressive force, the length of the object will get decreased. Okay, and the stress generated because of the compressive force is compressive stress. Okay. The third category is shear. In shear, now you can see the dimension of the object do not change. See the first 2 figure. In the first 2 categories, tensile and compressive forces, if you are applying a tensile force, the length increases, the dimension changes. In case of compressive, if you are applying a compressive force, the length get decreased. It means the dimension is getting changed. But now see the third category. If you are applying a shear force, note this important point: the dimensions of the object do not change, only the shape of the object changes. See the figure. The side of the cube do not change, the side of the cube remains as it is, only the shape of the cube changes when you are applying a shear force. See the definition of shear stress: the stress induced in a body when subjected to 2 equal and opposite forces which are acting tangentially across the resisting section, as a result of which body tends to shear off across that section. So that is the important point. What is the point? The tensile and compressive force acts normal to the area, but the shear force acts tangential to the area. In case of tensile compressive, both the dimension and shape of the object changes, but in case of shear category, only the shape of the object changes. Okay. The next part is strain. Now we know one thing, that if you are applying a force, the dimension of the object changes. So the change in dimension upon the original dimension is nothing but your strain. So the strain is defined as ratio of change of dimension to the original dimension. The strain is denoted by small e, and that is equal to dl upon capital L. dl is change in dimension, capital L is original dimension. Next point, the strain is a dimensionless quantity. It do not have any units. Why? Because see the formula. In the numerator it is change in dimension, means mm. In the denominator it is original dimensions, capital L. Again the units are mm. So mm upon mm, the units will get cancelled, and finally the strain will not have any units. It is a dimensionless quantity. Stress have units. Stress, the units of stress are Newton per meter square, but what are the units of strain? No units. Okay. Next is types of strain. The three types are tensile, compressive and shear. The strain is classified again, the classification of strain again depends upon the type of nature of force, whether the force is tensile, compressive or shear. So now we will solve two numericals onto this theory concept of tensile, compressive and shear forces. So for that, see the problem number 1. A rod of steel is 25 mm in diameter and 200 cm long. The rod is subjected to an axial pull of 4500 kg. Find number 1 intensity of stress, number 2 strain, number 3 elongation. Take capital E is equal to 2.1 into 10 raised to 6 kg per centimeter square. So now we will write down the given data. The given data is diameter of rod small d is equal to 25 mm. We will convert that mm into centimeter, so it will become 2.5 centimeter. The length of the rod is small l or capital L, you can denote. The length, the original length of the rod is capital L is equal to 200 centimeter. Pull means a tensile force, capital P is equal to 4500 kg. Now area of the section. The cross sectional area of the circular rod is pi by 4 d square. So the area will become 4.909 centimeter square. So now the first question, intensity of stress. We know that stress small f or sigma, whatever you can denote either by sigma or small f. So sigma is equal to force upon area, P upon area. P is 4500 divided by area is 4.909. So after doing the calculation, the final answer for stress is 916.7 kg per centimeter square. Number 2 is strain. Strain, we already know that change in length upon original length, but here the change in length is not given, so we have to use another formula, and for that modulus of elasticity capital E is given in the numerical. So what is modulus of elasticity? So for that you must have the knowledge of Hooke's law. What is Hooke's law? Stress is directly proportional to strain. Stress is directly proportional to strain. So therefore mathematically sigma is equal to capital E into small e. Sigma is stress, capital E is constant of proportionality, which is also known as modulus of elasticity, which is given in the given data, which is mentioned in the given data. Capital E is equal to 2.1 into 10 raised to 6 kg per centimeter square, and small is strain, small e is strain. So we can write down strain is equal to stress upon modulus of elasticity. So small e is equal to 916.7 upon 2.1 into 10 raised to 6, and hence the final answer for strain is 0.0004365, and we know that strain does not have any unit. Okay. And number 3 is elongation. It means now we have to find out the elongation, that is change in dimension. We are applying a force of 4500 kg onto that object, so obviously the length of the object is going to change, the length will get increased. That change in length now we have to find out. The change in length is dl is equal to strain into original length. For finding out the elongation, we will use the definition of strain, change in length upon original length. So the change in length will become strain into original length. So after doing the calculation, finally the answer for elongation is 0.0873 centimeter. Similarly, problem number 2. See the statement. A steel rod 25 mm in diameter and 2 meter long. So the diameter and original length is given of that rod, and onto that rod an axial pull of 45 kilonewton is acting. So now here the force value is 45 kilonewton. So again we have to find out intensity of stress, strain and elongation. Again capital E, modulus of elasticity, is given 200 giganewton per meter square. So now as per our usual procedure, we will write down the given data. Diameter of rod 25 mm, length of the rod 2 meter, pull, that is force, capital P is equal to 45 kilonewton. We will convert kilonewton into newton by multiplying 10 raised to 3. Area of the rod again pi by 4 d square, pi by 4 25 square, so the area is 490.9 mm square. In the next step we are converted that mm square into meter square. So it will become 490.9 into 10 raised to minus 6 meter square. Now we will calculate all the three categories: stress, strain and elongation. Stress is force upon area, so we will substitute the value of force and area, and finally we will get the answer as 91.67 mega Newton per meter square. Mega Newton meter per square means 91.67 into 10 raised to 6 Newton per meter square. Unit conversion is very important. Number 2, strain. Small e is equal to stress upon modulus of elasticity as per our Hooke's law statement. So strain is 0.004583. And last, elongation. Again elongation we will find out with the help of strain formula. Change in length upon original length. Strain we have already calculated in step number 2. Original length is already given in the statement, 2 meter. So finally the elongation or change in length, dl, is equal to 0.9166 mm. So that's it from my side for this first part of stress and strain. In the next lecture we will study about the Hooke's law, the stress strain diagram for ductile and brittle material. Thank you very much.